Good afternoon, friends. So, having finished work for the day, I am standing in the Museum of Black Civilization, which is in the south of Dakar. There are a couple of reasons why it was built here. If you look, I'm in a rotunda, and that rotunda is supported on the outside by columns there. The reason for that is that outside, I took a brief video, there's a stone circle of megaliths dating back to Neolithic times that stretch all the way from here to the Gambia, which is 400 clicks south, and Stonehenges, if you like, and they date back all the way to Neolithic times. This place was built here partially because of that, and partially because we are now very close to the port, which was one of the biggest staging grounds for the Atlantic slave trade. This is where the enslaved people would be taken rather, to be put on boats and sent to the Americas. So this starts out with the Neolithic side of things, so I'm going to record as I go along. This skull is very, very old. It's early human. We have Sahelanthropus chadensis. Sahel is, as I've mentioned before in these videos, is the band of deserts that cuts straight across Africa from here all the way to Eritrea and Ethiopia. So Sahelanthropus, person of the Sahel, and chadensis is because this was uncovered in Chad in 2001. Chad is a very desert kind of country in the very middle of the, if you like, the upper half of Africa. Age 766,000 years ago. Yeah. Oh, okay. Australopithecus afrensis dinkesh, also known as Lucy. I don't think that this is the original, because the original is in a museum in Ethiopia. I've been there. So that's 1974. This, I think, is the oldest. I mean, it's 3.2 million years ago. Still walking upright, absolutely tiny, like hobbit size, but walking upright, 1.2 meters, 30 kilograms, and Lucy was about 20 years old when she died. Like I say, these bones look very realistic, but I'm fairly certain it's not Lucy herself, because she was found in Ethiopia in 1974. And then we have, an evolution going from that way to that way, or is it the other way around? Beg your pardon, it's the other way around, going from this end to that. That is Australopithecus, so a relatively recent ancestor. Yeah, so this is much later now. We're talking Homo erectus, which is a very recent ancestor in the greater scheme of things, like 500,000 years ago, and this is all about, it's all in French of course, the discovery of fire, which along with stone knives and bear skins is mankind's oldest technology. Paleolithic era. And then we have heading towards modern humanity. The mirror there says, you too are Homo sapiens sapiens. We're now to essentially cultural evolution as well as technology, with the development of ceramics and art, religion, and all the way down the end here, architecture, which of course is mostly centered in what's now Egypt and Sudan. Yeah. That's the evolution of pyramid building. I could talk about Egypt forever, of course. Egypt is the first place I ever went by myself. Oh, so very long ago, and I've been back 5 times since then. So this is like Burkina Faso, Ethiopia, Benin, so Saharan Africa. Oh, Lalibela, down the bottom there. I was in Egypt, in Ethiopia rather, 10 years ago, visiting family, my best friend Abishai, his wife Natalie, and my wonderful Miriam, their now 18-year-old daughter, of whom I'm very, very fond. They were living there at the time. This is Uganda, with some actually quite serious tech. Yeah. This part deals with surgery. What surgery is, the word is derived from the word chirurgia, and that goes back a very long time. The Egyptians were really quite proficient. When they were good, they were good. There weren't that many gifted, qualified, experienced surgeons, but when they were, it's absolutely incredible how sophisticated their techniques were. And then when Egypt rose, fell, techniques were being used as far away as Timbuktu. Timbuktu is now in northern Mali, so the other side of the Sahara. I haven't been to Timbuktu. I would very much like to go, but if I went to Mali right now, it would be a death sentence. So there's that. But yeah, and there's quite an interesting carving there that is depicting, and fair enough, in 1879, but it's depicting essentially a reed hut with several naked people with surgical instruments performing a cesarean section. So, yeah, fascinating. I do find this particularly interesting, actually. There is a representation of a kiln, because this deals with the spread of the technology of metallurgy across the continent, and you have really 2 major ways. One was coming down from Egypt and Nubia, and then spreading that way in antiquity. And then of course you have the spread of Islam between 1200 and 800 years ago. And so the spread of metallurgy as a technology, because it's almost without question that the discovery of fire and stone knives and the aforementioned bearskins, that's a Star Trek reference if you're interested, originated on this continent. And that technology enabled the civilizations, if you like, to flourish and to move and to leave, because really Homo sapiens as a species is African. Yeah. This one, because of the sculptures and the way it's placed in the shadow on the wall. It's amazing. idea what's going on with that. I'm gonna have to look it up. I love this one, it's so cool. A complete outfit with headdress and mask made almost exclusively of feathers. That is just incredible. A Quelle mask from Gabon. Gabon is kind of where West Africa meets South Africa, southern Africa. It's just incredible. This is amazing too. A Bamileke mask from Cameroon. Same kind of area as Gabon, very closely related in knuckles, with big eyes. And they're not wrong. It's so stylized, it's so cool. It's so complex. It's fairly powerful, this. I'm now into a modern art exhibit. It's called Africa Now, and has quite a large following actually. And it's about awareness, dignity, the future of humanity together, that kind of thing. This one's called The Boxer. So I'd say a pugilist from the 20s, obviously of African descent. And superimposed upon one of the slave vessels, carrying enslaved persons in horrific conditions to the Americas. Oof, there's a lot of it actually. Goodness, okay, I'll catch up with you. I kind of like this one. Yeah, because you have the pyramids. That is representation of the Great Mosque in Mali, in Timbuktu. So high up on my list, again with the death. But then, of course, in front you have an African woman standing proud as the Statue of Liberty, with her hair as the spikes. It's badass. And on the tablet that she's holding in both English and French, Article 1, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience, and should act toward one another in of brotherhood. And the same thing in French. I also like the only splash of colour are her earrings. Yeah. There's Nelson, bless him. This is a photo of the Bukrot ceremony in Nyambalang in 2005. I'm going to look that up too. Look at this room. It's a feast for the eyes. Wow. Right, I'm up on the roof now, and behind me, to the southeast, is the port, a bustling industrial centre, and directly behind that ship there, about 10 clicks offshore, is Goree, which is an island. And thanks to a level of security, a very safe anchorage, safe, calm waters, all of that, Goree was one of the major staging points, as I mentioned earlier, for the Atlantic slave trade. The enslaved people would be taken and brought here and then transported to Goree as a way station before being packed into ships and taken away. It's one of the reasons this place is here, to celebrate African civilization, African art, African culture, and overlooking one of the major places where all of that was disregarded. Yeah, you can go out to Goree. There is a complex there. Mostly it's about half an hour to walk around, but it's also about 15 euros for the round trip on the boat, so I'm not going to do it. There is a juxtaposition. You can look it up if you like, Google it. There's a juxtaposition between the slaves and their conditions. It's just called the slave house, the enslaved people, and the conditions that they were kept in. And also, of course, you have the house and villa and places where the white people would live. It was really begun in the 1600s, the early 1600s, when France conquered Senegal, and carried on all the way up until 1794, when the French Revolution happened and the slave trade was abolished by France, swiftly followed by Britain, of course. So yeah, I'm very glad this place is here. Yeah. This is powerful. A massive empty room housing the only piece of Senegalese art or history that's ever been returned to Senegal from France. It's the sword of El Hajj Omar Tall. Right, so I'm just leaving. The museum, which is a very nice building, was opened on the 6th of December in 2018. It was the realization of a vision of Leopold Sédar Senghor, who was Senegal's first president, who wanted to have a representation, as I mentioned, of African culture, civilization, technology, dating all the way back. And it does achieve that. It's a fantastic place. It is not, however, without controversy, because the whole thing did take 30 million American dollars to construct. And considering the level of poverty in this country, quite a few people raised eyebrows, but it is a fantastic representation for visitors and locals alike to behold the glory